How's it going, everybody? This is Dave Meltzer. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours talking pro wrestling. We got Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly with us. Later in the first hour, we're going to be joined by KONNAN of NWA TNA fame and, of course, Mexican wrestling fame. And we're going to talk a lot about Lucha Libre, NWA TNA. We'll talk about current WWE, the destruction of WCW. Konnan's been, God, he's like a longtime veteran now. He probably goes back to the mid to late 80s in pro wrestling, so coming up on about 18 years, and a long career in a lot of places, been everywhere, and done a lot of stuff. We'll talk a lot about that later. Bryan, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. How's acting?
Well, you know. I don't know what to say.
You don't know what to say?
I thought it would be less painful than wrestling, but today I was wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. Most people who go from wrestling to acting seem to like acting better. I don't see, like, Bill Goldberg and them clamoring to come back full time.
No. I mean, the way I look at acting is it's a performance art, much like wrestling, except nobody hits you. You really can't beat that.
Yeah. And they don't stiff you as bad, do they?
Well, no.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, so. Well,
we had an interesting week this week in wrestling. First of all, Monday's Raw show was very interesting. The return of Shawn Michaels was probably the most poorly executed thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they take him out, he's bleeding from the mouth, he does all that stuff, and then we see him, he's at the Republic Convention, he's fine, and he's wrestling Kane in the next pay-per-view, and that was really dramatic.
You know what also was really sad about that was clearly they didn't know how stupid it was because Big Show made his big return on SmackDown at the convention.
But Big Show wasn't injured. I mean, it was stupid for that to be his return, but with Shawn, it was double stupid. Oh, yeah, it was much stupider in Shawn's case, but it was stupid that they didn't understand that it was stupid because they just did it with another guy on Thursday. There's a lot of stuff that they don't understand that's really stupid that has been happening a lot, and I think it's happening more. There's a lot that concerns me in that company now, just because you don't... it's one thing when you have bad wrestling matches because you can just match people up better and all that, but they got no... They got no future angles. There's nothing like you're going, I can't wait for this. And they're not building to anything big. I mean, they're building to Hunter and Randy Orton, and that's Sunday. I mean... Well, the thing with Randy and Hunter is, they get to the point where you think, oh my gosh, they're actually going to be doing something that's really cool, and then they don't do it. Yeah. That was the one thing they had where they could have done it to where you were excited about it. Oh man, this is going to be, this is great, but they just ruined it. And like you said, now there's nothing left. Raw Monday Divas, what do you think? Well, I was entertained. I was entertained in a perverse way. I thought, I think Kevin Dunn is I would not want to be Kevin Dunn because he just says things, when he says them, they're stupid, and then when you look back, they're even stupider. Oh yeah, I was so happy that what happened because I got to get a good barb in it. Kevin Dunn using WWE's own language, so. Oh, so did I. I guess we were thinking alike. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just amused that it was they were swearing to such a degree that the censors couldn't get it all. I think Vince loved that, though. Oh, I'm sure he did. But it won't show up in the ratings. I mean, I'll tell you what, when you have train wreck segments like that, usually they do real well in the ratings, and that one didn't. Yeah. So I think that I think those women, it's just one of those things where people don't want to watch it. When you watch wrestling, you want to watch wrestling. Well, I think it was Cornette said in an interview about a train wreck. He goes, when you see a car wreck, a lot of people slow down and look at it. He goes, but if you looked at it for 20 minutes, you would be bored. And I think it's the same thing with the Diva Search, where that first Diva Search thing they did where they were ransacking the room for it seemed 2 hours, that was so bad. And that got a huge rating, and it was the train wreck thing. But after you've seen that for, 3 or 4 weeks on end, I think there are a lot of people that are just I can't take it this week. Well, I tell you what, the Tough Enough is going to be, that's going to be the next disaster, I guess. I think that'll be the biggest disaster. It'll be so much bigger than the Diva Search. Yeah, well, probably because they've had the Diva Search to learn from, which, of course, they didn't learn from, which is happening. And even the Diva Search segments are going to be limited to 5 or 10 minutes. This thing's got to be 15 or 20, because how do you get over personalities if they're given 3 minutes every week? I don't know. How do you cut people after a week? They're going to let fans cut a wrestler
after a week of training in which they see about 4 minutes of it.
They're still going to do as good as the WWE. Look at their talent. Look at their eye for talent in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch OVW. I mean, if you had fans watch OVW for 1 hour every week, they would do a better job of bringing guys up than the WWE without any question. There's no way, because they would know enough that you know who's ready and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they would know 100%, but they would know better than the picks that were made.
Yep.
And I think it's going to get worse, a lot worse, especially with Tom Pritchard gone. I mean, he's like one of the.
That was surprising.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either. And nor did anyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
You know what I think is. Well, I don't know if I really think this or not, but I was considering the other day. It was like, what if Vince every now and then, just on a whim, fires somebody that you wouldn't think would ever get fired, just to let the entire company know that no matter who you are, you can go at any time?
Yeah, but what good is that?
Well, it does no good, but everything he does is illogical. So it's just, it seems to me like a Vince thing, like when you try and figure out something that Inoki's doing and you just can't.
I can always understand Inoki. I just know that he's nuts.
Yeah.
And Vince, too, for the most part. I mean, I understand their moves for the most part. And with Vince, like, with talent, it's like big muscles, bring them up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, most people could, look at, like, maybe there's talent involved and stuff. That's the one thing with so many people in wrestling. You would think, especially with, like, ex-wrestlers. Like, is there some, like, self-loathing thing? Actually, there's a wrestler. The reason I use that term is there was a wrestler who talked to me this week who actually used that term. And says that he thinks that, like, the people in that company who are, like, self-loathing wrestlers, in that, they're wrestlers, but they actually hate wrestlers because they don't like, want to push the guys who are wrestlers. They want to push the guys who look good. And you would think that the wrestlers themselves would at least know that there's kind of an art form to this and a skill to this, and they bring in the ones with the least ability to perform that skill.
Well, it's an interesting theory. I
don't know. I'm just trying to make sense out of the fact that, who gets pushes and who doesn't, and who flops regularly, and that they never really get it.
Yeah.
Although, now I don't even have any great answers right now, because this is almost like WCW after 1999, where the mistakes have already been made, and now it's hard. I mean, really hard.
Yeah.
To turn it around. I don't know. We could talk about WCW. I guess we probably will in a couple weeks. Now, when's your book coming out?
That's a good question. It was originally scheduled for October, but I think it's probably not going to make it by October. But they said before Christmas, so that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. My book is done now. It's completely done. So I'm figuring 6-8 weeks.
Really? That fast?
I don't know. I think so. I mean, no one's, this is the book business. No one's told me anything.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everything's in. I mean, the foreword is in.
By the way, thank you for doing our foreword. For those of you that do not know, Dave wrote the foreword for our book.
Yeah.
And
I hope it's good.
Summed up the entire book in, like, pages.
Well, I
think we should make it an afterword, because if we make it the foreword, there'll be no reason to read the rest of it.
You should do a thing. When I was thinking, you should do a what happened at the end. In fact, I should have told you this already. But you should do a thing where, like, all the main players, like, what happened to them. I mean, I just think it's hilarious that, like, the people...
Oh, like a where are they now?
Well, like a what happened to them next. And, like, kind of joke, but serious. But, like the ones who killed the company that are out still making money in wrestling, and the ones that were the innocent victims who are out there, like, starving to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's, it's just interesting.
You have to write the sequel.
There is no sequel. There's just an afterward.
That is true.
There's no sequel to WCW. It's over. It's been over for 3+ years now, and nobody learned a thing.
No. Except
for us. Can we watch it again? At least we go, hey, we learned that. I mean, it's happening again. We're going to go to Jeffrey in New York. Jeffrey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Question. You were talking a little while ago about the surprise release of Pritchard. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a rumor going around that he had personal problems, and
that's his brother. There's two Pritchards. There's Bruce and there's Tom.
Yeah, there's Bruce, but didn't they say they released Tom?
They released Tom. Bruce is
Love.
Bruce Brother Love is the one with the personal problems who was on a sabbatical. He was not released, and Tom was released out of nowhere.
Oh my God! Maybe it's like when they hired the wrong one-legged guy.
No, it's not, because they know the Pritchards.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's another one. Oh, how did that... God, you should work that into your book, too, even though it's got nothing to do with WCW whatsoever. Other than on the Where Are They Now, Johnny Ace, booking at the end, and then now he's the head of talent relations in WWE, and his main claim to fame is that he hired the wrong one-legged guy.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. That's still one of the great stories. I mean, it's like anyone who followed wrestling knew who Zach Gallen was by that point, and they hired, I don't even remember the guy's name, the guy from Florida.
Was it Steve Chamberlain? No.
Steve Chamberlain, that was the guy. Yeah, Steve Chamberlain, yeah.
250 pounds.
270-pound power lifter.
Cruiserweight.
Yeah, 270-pound power lifter instead of 170-pound or whatever Zach was. Oh, well.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to find out what's going on with him. Like, why did they decide to? That's such an important whole part to OVW. I thought.
Yes, and no one has an answer. So that's there's a lot of people who are upset about this. Like everyone actually, and because there is no answer, and I don't know other than. Hopefully I'll know in a couple of days because I got to figure out a reason myself. No, really, I mean, people are stunned by that one, and it's not like there's like some logical explanation because there isn't one, at least that I know of.
I just think they're a bunch of idiots running the company. I'm not. They make it and they release the style.
Idiots. Like the people who I know, they're not idiots, but sometimes I think that too, though. I mean, as far as. Some of them are really, really smart people. And sometimes they make some really smart decisions, but sometimes they don't. And they've been making a lot more bad ones than good. They don't plan for the future at all. And this is a business, this is like a marathon and a sprint. And they're out there trying to think, what can we do to, we need to do a hot angle before football season starts. And it's like, you don't got time. You just killed your angle by doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Another comment is, about the diva search. It seems to be that there seems to be an overwhelming evidence from the other contestants this past Monday that there is a matter of disrespect coming from Carmella towards the business in itself. The question is that why is WWE so high in this person if that is indeed true, that she has very limited amount of respect for what goes on?
Well, we don't know. There's something going on there, obviously, because they all hate her. I think that they hate her partially because they know that from day one. I mean, when the first day this thing came out, you could see. You could see that they wanted her to win, and maybe that's all it is jealousy of the other women going like, we know she's the favorite, and what did she do to become the favorite? I mean, and I really think all she did to become the favorite at first was the fact that she was a Playboy Playmate, and they get all turned on by, oh man, Playboy Playmate of the Year, we want her. And it's nothing more than that at the beginning. Now, I don't know, man. There's I'm sure there's something going on because the last couple of weeks, man, that hatred has gotten pretty deep. I don't know, Brian, what's going on?
Well, I can't say those kind of words on the air.
Okay. Well, I don't know what does that mean? Anyway, we got to go ahead.
Never mind. Oh, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people here watch Ohio Valley, but they did a show the other day. I just watched the one that Cornette wasn't at. And first off, only in Ohio Valley could Dean Hill explain that Jim Cornette is not there because his basement flooded.
It did.
I know, but you'd never hear something like that in any other promotion. Like Jerry Lawler going, well, Jim Ross would be here tonight, but his basement flooded, so.
Hey, and there was all those valuable tapes and everything. I haven't found.
Oh, that's true. I hadn't thought of that.
And he's got negatives.
Oh.
And that's stuff's the negatives are replaceable. He's got those old programs. You can't replace those old programs. And he's got all those old tapes from the 70s that, me and him probably I don't say the only ones, but two of the few people in the world that have some of those tapes. And some of those tapes that he has, I don't even have.
Yeah.
So it's not,
But the thing was, the show without him was just night and day.
Oh, it was so... And Bill DeMott did not do as bad a job as I thought.
No, but it's just you always... you know how good Cornette is, but when he's not there, it's just totally obvious. We
will be talking... Within 6 to 9 months, I have a prediction about Jim Cornette in WWE.
That was a horrible thing to say.
What? I don't know. Certain things are happening that... it's not happening now, but I don't know. I got my intuitions telling me some things that may not be there forever. And because I think that they're going to think that He's replaceable. So, I don't know. We'll see. Let's go to Mike in St. Louis. Mike, what's going on?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good.
If that's the case with Cornette, I mean, my God.
I'm just thinking.
Oh,
no. This is more like 9 months from now, maybe. But I've just got some certain intuitions about certain things, and
I'm just, if they were smart, I mean, look at TNA. At least, I mean, I'm not saying they're doing everything great.
They're not.
But
although they're
picking up pretty good. What was it, Dave Sahadi? Is that?
Dave Sahadi is a big pickup. That's what everyone seems to say. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, if they were smart, I mean, if this is going to happen, a couple questions for you guys. Bryan, I was wondering, in your book, for the fall of WCW, will you have a significant portion of it describing what I've always thought was the turning point in the Monday Night Wars, January 5th, 1999.
Yes, that was the turning point, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because I've always thought
that was the turning point, for sure.
Right. I've always thought people don't emphasize that date enough because
it wasn't just a day. It was like about a 2-week period right around there.
The period from when Goldberg got pinned through that Georgia Dome show.
Yeah.
But it's just like you just look at between the two shows. You had Mick Foley winning his first championship and then having the screw job one-finger pin, and basically the crowd throwing the stuff and then the beatdown on Goldberg, and basically one audience was satisfied, the other wasn't, and the majority just left left WCW then.
It was a really strange situation, though, because all of these horrible, horrible things were happening at a time when the business was just through the roof for them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And,
because they were still getting, I remember when I used to follow the ratings, some of the websites would have the point-by-point ratings. WCW got 3 out of the 3 5-point ratings in that month, January.
They still did good numbers for a while there.
But then the next time they went to the Georgia Dome, it was half full. It was in July 1999, and they were blaming Flair for all the trouble.
Well, they still in February of '99, the Hogan Flair match did a tremendous buy rate.
Right.
The second
that was opposite Vince and Austin in Cage.
Right, and they did head-to-head, and I mean Vince and Austin and Cage should have doubled them, and they in fact did almost identical numbers. But that was also. A big problem there, too, was when Hogan and Flair did the double turn, because the people really
didn't want that.
They didn't want that. Flair and Hogan both wanted it. Hogan wanted to be a babyface always. Why do you think he worked like he did as a heel? And obviously we already know that Flair always wants to be a heel, but it wasn't what the fans wanted. I remember that was a big blow was turning Flair again. Because again, Flair was doing phenomenal ratings as a babyface, and then when they turned him, it was like, that was it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was as bad as when they were both... Before Vince Russo came in, when they were both faces, and they were a tag team on that one Nitro.
Hogan and Flair never teamed.
Yeah, they did. It was September '99. It was like the week before Vince came in.
Did they? I don't remember them ever teaming.
It was just for one Nitro. It was just for.
Did they ever team Bryan, even on Nitro? I don't remember this.
Flair was mimicking Hogan, saying, "I'll take my vitamins. I'll take my, prayer." It was.
Who was I?
I don't remember. Check. I don't remember them ever teaming. I mean, I'll tell you what. I have a great memory of a lot of things, and the end of WCW, I have no recollection. It's like I had a concussion through that period.
Only, Dave. It was one night, so I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, I remember WWE pretty well, but I had a concussion watching those Nitros. And Thunders especially.
Quick question for you, Dave. Why are people going soft on JBL with their criticism?
What do you mean? I see people ripping him to I see people ripping him to death.
Because it's just like, I understand they're saying, okay, he's not supposed to be champion, but they like his comedy.
Okay, I agree with that, because I happen to like, I watched him, when he did the commentary in that Orlando Jordan match the other night, and I was just cracking up. But I don't think he should be world champion.
That's not an uppercard act. That's not,
everyone says that. I think pretty much everyone says that he's a pretty entertaining mid-card guy, but,
I've actually read a column where it's just like, not on your site, but it's just like...
Well, God, you can read seriously, before you go, you can read a column about anything incredibly lame from people who don't know what they're talking about. I read stuff like that on not on a daily basis because I usually don't, but sometimes people send this stuff to me, and I mean, in the last couple of weeks, I've heard some of the stupidest things of my life. I'm just telling you. I mean, it's like so stupid that I mean, cracking up. Like, there was a 2-week period where I was like laughing like for 2 straight weeks because of the stupid things that I've read, and so just because someone wrote it doesn't mean much to me.
Somebody I had followed who I thought, okay, he had a good handle, and they're like saying, well, DDP was a worse champion than this guy. I'm like thinking.
DDP wasn't a great champion either, though. I
can watch his matches.
Yeah, you can, but I can see someone. I don't know. I mean, that's a close one for me because DDP to me didn't have a lot of credibility as champion. I mean, he's a better wrestler than JBL. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I look at.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to see a guy get tired in 3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, but I'll give you an example. Jeff Jarrett, without question, is a better wrestler than JBL. But I think if I was going to rate them as world champions, and they would both be very low, I would rate JBL just because JBL to me is really entertaining and a good talker, and Jeff is just Jeff. I mean, he's a good worker, but he's just Jeff.
I guess, yeah, I could say I actually was one of the few people who who would say that when Jeff Jarrett when he was WCW champion the first time, I thought he was okay. Thought he was pretty good. Not a great guy, but
And to me, world champion, world champion should be somebody special.
Right.
And Jeff wasn't special, and obviously, Bradshaw's nothing special. Right. I just grew up when the title meant something, and
yeah, I just wish we could feel that feeling again.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do it when you got 2 champions. It's hard to do it when you got, they booked themselves into a corner. When you've got 2 crews, and they've made sure that people know that most of the guys, like 90% of the guys on both crews, have no credibility.
Right.
So you only got 3 or 4 guys who can hold the title, and they're good, but they're all stale.
Yeah.
And
Orton's too quick, too fast right now. So
Orton was, I think hopefully everyone knows now that Orton, the way it was handled was a big mistake because he'd be really over if it wasn't. And
well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Okay, very welcome. Hello, Konnan, are you there?
Hey, what's up?
Not too much. We got Konnan here with us. He's going to be with us for the rest of the show. We got a full bank of calls as well. Konnan, how's it going?
All right, everything's good over here. How about over there?
Everything's going good. I'm glad we're not in Florida. You grew up there.
Where, Miami? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from, Miami. And did the hurricane hit there?
Yeah, I think it's like the worst is already past Miami, but now it's maybe going through Tampa and Central Florida. It's going to hit Pensacola tomorrow.
Right.
That area. Did
it go right by Orlando or no?
It went in that area. God, do you have any trouble getting out of Orlando?
Yeah, we just barely missed it. That's 2 weeks in a row. And what they did is they closed the airport down at 8 o'clock. And when we got there the day before, everybody was already getting the hell out of Orlando. So it was just kind of scary because we're getting in and everybody's leaving the city. So we thought nobody's going to be at the TV tapings, but they got enough people to put them on one side to make it look like we had a big crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just barely got out of here. Huh?
Those are some hardcore fans.
Yeah, they are. They're starting, it's unfortunate that the show is not even seen in Orlando, but yet the fans keep coming every week because I think just like ECW or the Nashville fans, they want to be part of something that's, from the ground floor up and say, I was part of their success.
What's your thoughts as far as... there's a question I wanted to ask you, which is almost wholly unrelated to anything we've talked about, except I was watching the CMLL show yesterday for the first time in a little while.
Right.
And, I saw, Perro Aguayo Jr., Hector Garza, and these guys in their element. And, what I mean? I mean, these guys in their element, they're superstars, big crowd, great workers, really tremendous, Lucha Libre is tremendously fun to watch. I was watching with my family, and they were all... the thing was, wow, this is more fun than American wrestling, and a lot of times it is.
Right.
And I think, we talked about this when you brought a lot of the guys into the States from Mexico, and I'm going to use Psicosis as the example, but this goes for a lot of people. He started in Tijuana, and I think he started with you, and then went to AAA when you were involved with the booking there and everything, became a big star. Then went to ECW, did great there, and WCW, and had some great matches at the beginning, and they started beating him like a drum. And mentally, you're a similar example. You were a big star. A lot of people don't realize what a big star you were in Mexico. You were a huge star in Mexico. And then in this country, at times you were pushing, at times you were absolutely buried. And mentally, what does that do to you going from, main events and being over and knowing how to get over and and mentally, going like, I've been through this, I know how to do this, and just being beaten down. Because it happened to you and happened, worse to Psychosis because he was really beaten down.
Right. Well, like you said, that's a very good point. It just destroys your psyche, your confidence. It makes you question yourself. And it's just a shame because, like when I went to Puerto Rico about a year and a half ago, I was the champion over there. And in Puerto Rico, the belt still means a lot. They don't switch hands too much. At least Carlos Colon is very old school. So when I won the belt, I felt so proud because I'd been there for a year, and it's almost like I earned it. And like I said before, they don't switch it around a lot. And I thought, how come in Mexico I'm a big star? How come in Puerto Rico? But yet the minute I cross the border into the United States, I always get buried. And some of it is subtle racism, and a lot of it, as far as the other Mexican wrestlers, is, and as it's been very well documented, the guys on top weren't going to let the guys underneath raise the bar, whereas maybe they could be released one day. And you still see that happening to this day. But it doesn't matter because the revolution is already in motion. And if you look at the panorama of wrestling nowadays, there's more smaller guys than at any other time in the history of this business. If you look at the independent scene, it's mostly built around junior heavyweights, and the influence of Lucha Libre will never be able to be reversed again. And all the guys that are going to be the stars of the future, whether it's Christian, Edge, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, they were all brought up on that style. So it's, it hurt guys like me in Psychosis, but in the long run, we're going to get what we wanted, which was the Lucha Libre style over in the United States.
One thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was history and stuff of Mexico, because it's got a rich history that a lot of people aren't really aware of. And we could probably go on forever on it, but in a nutshell, I just want to bring up, like, the early names, like Tarzan Lopez and Gory Guerrero and the original El Santo and Blue Demon, and kind of, like, just go through, kind of how, the thing started and got to, where it got to be in Mexico.
Well, I was very surprised that you included Tarzan Lopez as, like, a late addition, because he was a guy that I always used to go to Eddie Guerrero's house, and Gory Guerrero, his dad, used to have, like, a library. And I would want to see, like, all these books that showed all these old, unique holds, and a lot of them were from Tarzan Lopez, and he always used to tell me he was the best. And he would actually make me check out his books and bring them back, because he was such a student, of the game. And, Tarzan Lopez, if you look at a lot of the variations of anything that has to do with leg locks, he was a big precursor. A lot of the leg locks that you see in Mexico originated from him. As we all know, Gory Guerrero was really the guy that started the camel clutch, but Santo is the one that popularized it. Blue Demon was always a guy. You got to remember, in Mexico, the mask is not only traditional, but it's ceremonial. It goes back to the Aztec, to the Mayan, to the Toltecs. And it was something that they wore before wars. It was something that they wore when they gave sacrifices to the gods. That's why when Eric Bischoff, it was so easy for him to say, take Rey Mysterio's mask off to Kevin Nash, and it was Elizabeth's hair at stake. I say, you don't know, how disrespectful that is on so many levels. Obviously, he didn't give a damn, and he did it. So, the mask plays a big part of Mexican culture. And then when Blue Demon and Santo started to make movies, they were actually like a Batman and Robin. It made them even more popular because now they went from historical, traditional to pop culture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you see a lot of guys that wear masks. Blue Demon, as you know, was called manotas, which means big hands. He had these big construction-type hands. I always read how you talk about Danny Hodge and his grip and his strength. I would compare him to him. Nobody could get away from him once he locked you in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he always hated Santo as a shoot because Santo was not the wrestler that Blue Demon was, but he was 70 times more charismatic. And Tarzan Lopez, as I said before, was just an incredible Mac technician and had, numerous legendary fights with Gory Guerrero. And, just these guys were the guys that basically, all of those guys should be in the Hall of Fame if they're not.
Yeah. Now, as far as, like, the current guys in Mexico, what's your thoughts as far as, like, where... One of the things when I watch, and maybe I'm wrong on this, is it seems to be, to me, even more. I mean, WWE we know is going to be around forever, right. even though they're struggling in a lot of ways and doing a lot of things wrong right now.
Right.
But I always get the impression that CMLL will also always be around. I mean, even more solid than the Japanese groups.
Right. Well, you got to remember, CMLL is owned by the Luderots, which were the first millionaires in Mexico. They have a lot of real estate in Baja California. They sold a lot of real estate to the Korean government, and I mean they're multi-millionaires. And as long as they still have the old school system of paying on a percentage, which they still have to this day, I mean very few guys get a paid weekly check. Vampiro might be one of the very few guys. Negro Casas might be another one, and maybe Dr. Wagner. But everybody else is still paid on a percentage. And as we all know, wink, wink, that percentage is never, what it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I just think that Arena Mexico is always going to be a place that they're just going to always, how could I put this? Economically speaking, I mean, if you're working on a percentage, how could you ever go broke?
Yeah. Now, one of the things on, and also they own a lot of their own arenas.
Yeah, a lot of their own arenas, exactly, and the parking lots. And the concessions. I mean, they got a pretty good deal going.
Yeah. Now, but in Mexico right now, which we've talked about, you can. It's like in the United States. In most cases, nobody wants to go independent. They want to work for either TNA or especially WWE.
Right.
In Mexico, a lot of the top guys, and I mean really the top guys, are the independent guys because you can actually make more money working on your own in Mexico than you can, working, for Arena Mexico or for AAA.
Right. Well, what it is, it's almost like the second wave. The first wave in the last decade was when me and Rey Mysterio and all of us went to WCW because we finally found out that we could make more money somewhere else and have a lot of independence. Because as you know, once you're part of a promotion, whether it's in Japan, Mexico, or U.S., you have to follow their policies, politics, and whatever else is going on, whether you want to or not. And once you're independent, you do what you want. And so once we left and we figured out that Peña had been BSing us all these years on so many things, it took these other guys about 6 or 7 years to figure Peña out. And now that they figured him out, you've got Perro Aguayo leaving, Hector Garza leaving, and other wrestlers that are making rumblings that they also want to leave. And so now what they've done is they've banded together on the independent scene, and they're making a lot of money. And I'll give you an example. It's almost as if right now Nash, Goldberg, Austin, Sting, some of those guys started like their own little independent group, and they help each other out. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have more work because you have more superstars available, and you probably get more money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happened over there.
Yeah. Now, as far as everything goes with we talked with TNA and everything, you're going now from the 2 shows a week to the 1 show a week. It seems to me that you and for a while in TNA you were kind of like. You were there, and that's what I would say. You were there, but now you've been the last 3-4 weeks. You've been like you and BG James have been real players. You were in a big angle with Dusty Rhodes on Wednesday, and it seems like they're kind of paying attention to the fact that the fans are going for you.
Well, they're kind of paying attention because we're always complaining. If we weren't complaining, we'd still be stuck in mediocrity. Those like I read in your thing where it said. KONNAN, I made sure it was your name so I don't attribute it to the wrong guy. You put in your last report, which I just read today, it said, KONNAN is they're trying to get KONNAN over a submission expert. Unfortunately, he never wins by submission or something like that, right?
Right, I wrote that, yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing that. I'm doing that myself.
Oh, I know it. I was half kidding when I wrote. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like, you're doing all the submissions and everything like that, and Mike Tenay is trying to put you over like that. But ultimately, the guys who get over as the submission experts, you got to win by submission at some point.
Exactly. Well, it's a tough battle. We're having, I think, TNA, without getting myself into too much trouble, has the same problems that WWF has, and they have nobody to blame but themselves. And, they play favorites, and it seems a show revolves around 3 or 4 guys, and everybody else is just fodder. And the people pick up on that. Can you imagine how hard it must be for somebody like Sonny Siaki or Pat Kenny to go out there? Nobody cares because a lot of their storylines are ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing over there, but what are you going to do? Vince has surrounded himself by yes men, and on top of that, I read that he had like his 4th most profitable quarter a couple months ago or something.
Well, their business. They make money on their business.
Right,
Yeah.
so if you're still making money, I mean, you know, the guys around him are probably telling him, you know, you're still making money, Vince, so what do we need to check? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to go real quick to Rick on a cell phone in Indiana. He's got a question for Konnan. Go ahead, Rick.
How you doing?
Doing really good. Go ahead.
Hey, Konnan, how you doing?
Yo, what's poppin'?
I just had a quick question. Do you think you're going to go to the WWE anytime?
I don't know. Maybe one day I will. I mean, that's, I had gone over there a couple of months ago, and then TNA gave me a raise, so that kind of basically was the main reason I wanted to leave. But you never know. Maybe one day I would love to do something with Eddie, with Ray, Chris Jericho, who are my, you know, my best friends over there.
Yeah, I knew.
You know, hopefully TNA will grow and I can grow with it. It's not a dream of mine, to tell you the truth, but I just want to go wherever I can finish my legacy on an up note.
Yeah, I knew you and Rey Mysterio were tight back in WCW, so I figured you probably would be coming over there, hopefully sometime soon. I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was, more than anything, forget about what you've heard that I have heat and all over there. I think the biggest problem, because I could have gotten an announcer's gig, I think the biggest problem was they didn't want me doing my gimmick because it looked too much like Cena's, when actually it's the other way around. But anyways, that's their gold boy right now, and they got to protect him, and they don't want anything that may take away from him, whereas maybe we could have done something against each other. But, you know, it wasn't in the cards for right now. But, you know, I'm happy in TNA, even though I still feel they don't use me how they should. I'm underutilized, but, I mean, I'm happy where I'm at right now.
All right, I got one more quick question. I read a lot on the internet that Sting and Hogan's supposed to come to TNA. I know Sting was there for a little bit. What's the story with that?
Who are you asking this to?
Well, I'll go real quick. You know, there was a point where they were talking with Hogan, but I don't think Hogan ever was serious about doing it. I think Hogan just wanted his name out there. And Sting has said of late that he doesn't consider himself a TNA wrestler. He went there a couple of times as a favor to Jerry Jarrett. Sting doesn't want to work full time. I think that's very clear, and he wants huge money to wrestle. And you know, more power to him. You know, I mean, if he, you know, so I don't see either of them being cornerstones for TNA right now. Konnan, real quick, before you got on, we were trying to when did you actually get started in wrestling? What year was it?
Probably 89 or 88 or 89. Yeah,
and you basically, I know the story. You were playing pickup basketball. You got into a fight, and somebody who knew about wrestling in Tijuana, you know, just basically recruited you down there. And now, when you started pretty much with Psicosis and Rey Mysterio and Halloween and some other guys, right?
Right. We were all in the same training camp.
Yeah, under Rey Mysterio's uncle.
Right, and Super Astro.
Yeah. Super Astro's another one that a lot of people, I think a lot of Americans don't know Super Astro at all. But for his time, he was a phenomenal worker.
I've always said, if Lismark is in the Hall of Fame, why isn't Super Astro? And I'll tell you why. Because the people that probably read The Observer and vote, they all probably started to watch Lucha Libre on EMLL because Toreo wasn't on TV, which is where Super Astro was at. But Super Astro, to me, was way better high flyer and more graceful, and was part of a team called Los Cadetes del Espacio, which was him, Ultraman, and Solar when they were all young, and they were off the hook. But Super Astro is a guy that, to me, really revolutionized high flying in Mexico. Not to take anything away from Lismark, but if Lismark and Super Astro should be in, but it's hard because I think a lot of the people that vote, you know, your readers, they can only go by what they saw from the old CMLL tapes.
Right. Almost nobody really actually, I mean, the Toreo stuff, and there was a short period it was on television, but almost none of it was.
But you know what? Here's the thing. If you look at because it took me a while to find it, but some of these guys that sell, like, you know, tapes and stuff, you know, on the internet or wherever you can find them, I guess, you know, I don't know. A lot of Japanese film crews used to go down.
Oh, right. That's the stuff that I saw was on they had a TV show in Japan called World Pro Wrestling in the 80s when the Road Warriors and Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair were really in their heyday.
Right.
And they would show matches from all over the world, and they would show matches from the Toreo. Like, there would be one Lucha Libre match on every show, and I remember seeing, was it Kato Kung Lee, Kung Fu, and who was the third guy? Well, Black Man, right?
Black Man, right.
Oh, they were awesome.
Or sometimes Kendo.
Yeah. But I saw, like that. That's when I saw a lot of the stuff from, you know, from that group.
Hey, we got an update on Flair and Hogan, by the way.
What about Flair and Hogan?
The October 4th Nitro, they teamed up.
You're kidding. God, I did have a total...
Sting and Luger. Actually, yeah, they beat Sting and Luger.
Wow. Jeez.
I don't know where we were.
We were watching it, but as I said, I forgot.
That was the Brett and Benoit tribute match day.
Really? I remember the Brett and Benoit match.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for a lot of reasons. Especially because, actually, I remember more of that match, the politics of the ending than, although the match itself was great, I remember it too. But I just remember, when Brett went in there and asked to lose that match, and they all looked at him like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, well. Anyway.
In retrospect, he was right.
What, Brett?
Look at Benoit now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing was at that point in time, you know, Brett, the idea was they wanted to do this tribute match, and Brett thought that the tribute to Owen would be him elevating Benoit.
Right.
You know, because Benoit at the time needed the win, and Brett could afford the loss. He was already Bret Hart, right? So he wanted to go out there for.
I know. Well, I agree. I already know the circumstances. What I'm saying, Dave, is in retrospect, look how right Brett was.
Yeah, well, I know he was right at the time, yeah, and they looked at it, and like from what I was told in the meeting, because I talked to two different people who were at the meeting, who were the only two people who wanted Benoit to win, and everybody else in the meeting were just like, he didn't even get it. And to me, it was like, you know, if anything's going to make Brett look better, losing to Benoit under those circumstances, especially.
All those guys on top, and I could tell you a story that I might have told before, but the people on the radio don't know, but all those guys on top, the top 10, 12, whatever they were going to make sure, and they made sure, that Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Konnan, the guys that were ready to take it to the next step, never did. And that's what killed our company, you know.
When did you, as far as going through that, was there a period or was it just a gradual thing where, because, you know, at one point the thing was just so on fire, like, you know, very few companies in history ever were, and, I mean, it went down so fast. Was there, like, a point where you were just like, because, I mean, I know when it was on top, and Bryan and I talked about it all the time, and there was, you know, we knew it was going to go down because they were doing nothing to build for the future.
Right.
But even then, I don't think that anyone had an idea that it would go down so fast. Was there ever like one period where you just go, now we've just shot ourselves in the foot and it's just gone?
You know what? When Nash did that one finger job, I said this.
Somebody said that this earlier on the show.
Yeah.
The January 5th, 1999. That was the date.
That was ridiculous, and the thing was, Nash was so brilliant because, again, he got out of doing another job because he came from that school of Shawn Michaels that you never did jobs. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That it would hurt you somehow. And that's why I have so much respect for The Rock and Mick Foley and Ric Flair because they were like this. Come on, how many guys do a job in the retirement match like Mick Foley did for Triple H?
Yeah.
So those are the guys that I really respect because they're not Marks or J-Brones for themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And these guys never gave back to the business. They never helped anybody. They never gave back to the business that gave so much to them. And it's just a shame because I always read how on the Internet it's the popular thing, the Barry wrestlers or, you know, all these guys that write columns just to see their name on the Internet. And they have no idea, you know, what other sport do you know of, Dave, where guys have broken necks and you know, replaced hips, and they still come back to their sport that they love, but yet after they're done, they have no pension, they have no insurance. If something happens to you in TNA right now and you break your leg, you're screwed. We have no insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we're out there, you know, with little pay. We have no trainers in the back to help us. We have no spas, no whirlpools, no rehab. I mean, it's a thankless, you know, career sometimes, but we love it so much. It's so addictive that we put up with it. You
know, it's funny that and I've noticed it. Almost every wrestler, when they're 35, 38 plus,
right,
will go in there and they will say that. And all the young guys, and you know, and you've been through both. Right. All the young guys, when you're on your way up, you're afraid to make waves.
Right.
When you're at the top, you don't want to ruin your gravy train. And then at the end, you're going, God, you know, we had this chance, you know, and it's like, and now it's probably the hardest of ever because it's, you know, it's such a tough business right now because there's so few jobs.
It's a buyer's market. TNA and WWF can do whatever they want, and you have to shut up or you're out of there, you know? And that's not conducive to a good working environment. And I've always wondered why. I still don't understand this, and I might have brought this up the last time. When I was in Mexico, and I'm not trying to put myself over as Booker of the Year, but when I was in Mexico, the one thing that I made sure of is I got over as many guys as I could. I got over as many storylines. So if somebody got hurt, if somebody became too problematic, if somebody went to another promotion, we had somebody else to pick up their spot. Plus, why would you want to go to a match when nobody gives a damn about the first 3 matches? Why wouldn't you want somebody to enjoy the whole show? Plus, all those guys underneath can help you sell merchandise. If those guys aren't over, who wants to buy their T-shirt? It makes sense on so many levels. And in both promotions, they have their little office favorites, these guys that have a good look but suck. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like right now I was listening to that TNA promo.
Yep.
Do you know how many guys are saying, and nothing against AJ or Monty, because AJ's incredible, Monty's got incredible potential, but how many guys are probably saying, besides a hardcore march, who are these guys? Why aren't you saying Road Dogg's name or Raven's name? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Especially because on a national basis, more people are going to know their names. Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that their idea is with AJ, you know, with AJ, they want, he's actually the star they develop.
Of course, but why don't you also say Road Dogg and Raven? I'm not saying...
Well, I mean, considering there's Johnny Fairplay on it, I can't argue that at all.
Fairplay, give me a break.
Johnny talk about, you know, I mean, like, wow. You know what I mean? They spent money on him and they gave up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
They marked out over him and they paid the price.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Lex Luger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, God. Let's go to the phones. We'll start with Labby in Yonkers, New York. What's going on?
Hi, I have a question about Jerry Jarrett and TNA.
Mm-hmm.
I read your little blurb about Jerry Jarrett starting USA Wrestling with Bert Prentice.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, you know, how that's going to affect what he's doing, how he has the time for that now, and, you know, basically where that leaves both groups.
I think that Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett were both very negative about leaving Nashville, you know, for a lot of reasons. It's their home, and you know, they grew up with Nashville wrestling, and I think Jerry Jarrett thinks that, you know, they've got this clientele, and even though, you know, most of them get in for free, it's you know, over 1,000 people that are coming almost every Wednesday night to wrestling, and he thinks that, you know, that's the market's been cultivated, and he wants to keep it going. So I think that that's his deal is, you know, he thinks they can do something. And another thing, I think that because Jerry Lawler had so much success last week, mm-hmm. that maybe they're thinking that, you know, maybe it's the time, and it's the time to come back and do this, and I don't think it is, but Jerry Jarrett might. And Jerry Jarrett, you know, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where, you know, guys aren't going to get paid all that much, I'm guessing, and, you know, he's good at that, and I think he just wants to, show something to Panda that, like, hey, you're making a mistake by pulling out of Nashville.
And I'm just wondering, I know that they're going to be taping Explosion and the show in 1 week, so it's tough to tape multiple shows, but I just see it as, you know, so much of a waste of money that if they just tape the matches, you know, ongoing, with all the commercial breaks, you only need about 3 hours of matches in the can for a whole month of TV shows.
Well, you would need 6 hours now.
Yeah, don't give them any ideas, caller.
I know those. I mean, everybody. You know, seriously, the wrestlers. The one thing that they're scared that you know, they don't want to hear about cutting any more dates back from this. You know, because I think no, Conan, I'll ask you, because I think most guys really do understand. You know, I mean, you know, you don't like the fact. I mean, you're losing money on this deal, but at the same time, you kind of do understand.
You know what? It's fiscally responsible on their part, and I can't believe they didn't do it sooner.
Yeah, so and it's costing you money to say that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else, Labby?
No, that's it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, let's go
There are a lot of guys that don't agree with that. Like, they're so...
I think the young guys, because they don't understand the business, bro, and that's what I've been trying to say in my last few promos. It's like, there's so many guys that have come into the business that have no business in the business, that weren't trained right, who all they do is watch video clips the night before and copy it move for move, have no business acumen, have no respect for the business, and so, you know, they think they deserve everything, you know, and they don't understand the business itself, and they're like all pissed off, and I'm like, bro, this is the best thing that could happen to us. We need to save money to make money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and also, with 4 weeks to build up a show, hopefully, you know, you'll get a lot bigger audience. I mean, you know, there's no way of knowing until you do it, but you...
Of course,
yeah.
Dave, I think I think, you know, that goes without saying, don't you think?
Yep. Let's go to Ed in San Antonio. Ed, what's going on?
Hey, guys, Conan, I've been a big fan of yours. The first time I ever saw you was that WCW tag team tournament, and you just totally blew me away. I've been a big fan ever since.
All right, thank you, man.
I have a question regarding Jake the Snake Roberts. I remember watching a match. It was you, Barrel Guile, and Blue Panther, and you guys were wrestling Eddie and Art, and Jake the Snake and Diamond Dallas was in their corner.
Right.
And the question I have is, during the match, Jake the Snake refused to sell for Aguayo, and I was wondering if that was booked, or was he just kind of being a jerk and having a problem with Aguayo?
Yeah, no, he really had that mentality that, you know, Aguayo was so much shorter and older than him and didn't understand how much of a legend he was. and he didn't really want to sell for him like he should have. And after the match, we had to get him in the dressing room. And I remember telling him in front of Pena, I go, Jake, if you keep giving us problems, we're just going to put DDP in your place. Because DDP had a lot of charisma, and he was really, really hungry. And he had like a Terry Funk look to him, the chaps and all that. And he straightened up really quick after that.
Okay, and another question. Is there any plans for Hector Garza to come back to TNA? Because I thought he was looking really good there.
Is that for Dave or for me?
But I guess for you, because you would know more than me on that. Have you heard anything? Because I haven't heard anything on Hector Garza lately.
I think it would be great for them to bring Hector Garza, but now I think they're going to have to work with Paco to do that. And I've always thought that Paco, I think he's a little bit easier to work with. First of all, they don't need an interpreter because he speaks English. And second of all, I really believe that Paco understands much more so than Pena how important it is to have a coalition with TNA so Mexico can get kind of an international cachet, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Because it would be awesome. And, I mean, can you imagine if we had somebody like Dr. Wagner, Ultimate Guerrero, Ray Bucanero over here, Hector Garza wrestling some of our X Division guys? It would be incredible. I think Pena brought the wrong guys, to tell you the truth. Not that he has that many good guys anyways.
Yeah. Well, Juventud, although Juventud didn't work out for other reasons, not work reasons.
Yeah.
And but him and Hector to me were.
He didn't bring Juventud. Remember that I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just came afterwards because he was in AAA. But he brought Hector, Aguila, Abismo. I don't think was ready. Hector, Heavy. I don't think was ready because what has happened is Heavy has the ability, but he doesn't have the passion anymore, and that's the problem. And these guys in Arena Mexico, they still have the passion. Look at their matches.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Konnan, I want to ask you a question. As far as the Pride and the UFC go, what were your thoughts as far as the shows of a couple weeks ago? Because I know you saw the tapes.
Incredible from a production standpoint to giving people interesting matchups that they want to see. And the best way that, to me, the best way to tell if you're watching a good fight is when you're not sure who's going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that always makes for a great fight. Well, he might win if he does this, and this guy may win because of that. There were no clear-cut favorites. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that made it really interesting. I think that Fedor is incredible.
Yeah. He's scary, too.
What a machine. Bro, his brother didn't look too bad for being that huge either.
Yeah, but he just got nailed by Krokop. Now, this on a totally different topic. What's your thoughts on Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya?
Wow, I'm a huge boxing fan. Wow, that's going to be a hard one. I mean, De La Hoya looked really bad against Strum, the German. If De La Hoya is just going to have to box him, he's going to have to stick and move and outbox him. There's no way he's going to knock Bernard Hopkins out, even though he's got an incredible left hook. And if Bernard Hopkins can get him in close, he's going to knock De La Hoya out. But I think De La Hoya knows that this is the biggest fight of his life. He's going to box, stick, and move, box, stick, and move. He's going to, he's got incredible hand speed. Not as fast as Sugar Shane Mosley, but he's got incredible hand speed. And he's got that left hook, bro. I think De La Hoya is going to outbox Hopkins.
Okay, and if Silva and Couture were to go at it, what's your thoughts on that one?
Wow, that's another great one. I don't know. Sooner or later, Couture's age has to catch up to him, but it sure hasn't yet, has it?
No, I know. That's what I keep...
He's going to maul him and just do the same thing he's done to everybody else.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
He's like, like a time machine or something. He's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, his conditioning for his age is it's just off the charts. That's why it cracked me up. Brian O'Brien knows this one. I don't know if you heard this, but, after the fight, Vitor was saying... Oh, my game plan was to just lay there for the first 3 rounds and let him do it and tire him out. And I'm just thinking, your game plan is not waiting for him to tire out.
Right, exactly. And not only that, you had even told me the last time I talked to you, you go, yeah, he's gone into seclusion, he's training somewhere hidden and all this. I said, wow. And Couture still went out there and did the damn thing.
Yeah.
He's just incredible, bro. Just phenomenal. And the way he just took care of Tito and, he's just incredible. I would have to go with Couture. Who would you go with?
If Couture were to fight Silva, I would go with Couture right now. But Brian, what about you?
I really think that where they did it would make a huge difference.
Absolutely, that's true.
Couture likes to bowl him into that cage, and if it's in a ring, he's not going to have that opportunity. So it'd probably be stood up more, and when it's on its feet, Silva's a bad man.
Well, one of the interesting things about that fight would be, Couture beats everyone in the clinch. But in the clinch, the one thing Silva has is those knees.
Right.
So it's going to be tougher. Nevertheless, I think in an octagon cage, I'm pretty sure Couture is going to beat him. In a ring, I think it's a lot tougher fight, and it's a different fight.
Right. No, that's a good point, and that's what makes a good fight.
Yeah.
When you're not really sure. How about Fedor against Couture?
I don't know. I think that Fedor would submit him at some point. Just because he submitted Randleman and Coleman real fast.
You're right. That's what I think.
He's really good at submitting wrestlers.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I don't know. Randy can kind of maul him for a while, but I don't know that you can hurt Fedor.
Yeah.
But you can. But the one thing, you can cut him.
Right.
And so that might be the thing is, I could see Randy winning by a cut. So, but Fedor is just, I don't know. He's like the real Stone Cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What does your partner think?
Brian, what do you think about Fedor and Couture?
I think I would probably go with Fedor.
Yeah.
Just because of the size and,
I think the submission, too. He's right. Everybody he gets, he somehow submits.
Yeah. I mean, like, he submitted Fujita, who's a good wrestler, Randleman, Coleman.
Yeah.
He destroyed, he was destroying everyone until Nogueira.
Right.
They'll fight again at the end of the year.
What do you think about the Nogueira-Fedor rematch?
I'm going with Fedor until Nogueira shows me something, although, Nogueira, I have so much respect for Nogueira as a fighter. I mean, he's like one of my favorites because he's just, I've seen him come from behind, like with Crow Cop and
How about with Sapp?
With Sapp, and, he's just incredible.
Yeah, he is. I still got to go with Fedor.
Yeah. Let's go to James in Tallahassee, Florida. James, what's going on?
Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, man, we're brazing through this, hurricane.
That's right, you're in Florida.
Yeah, I'm actually a law student at Florida State. However, I did my undergrad at UF, and the reason I say that is because for 3 years, my next-door neighbor was your brotder, Konnan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Richie. Yeah.
Richard, how's he doing?
He played football, right?
Yeah. He shaved his head just like you.
Yeah. He's in Miami. I think he's trying to get into the University of Miami because he wants to be like a veterinarian or something. But he was, just so you know, Dave, he was going to be a running back for the University of Florida Gators. Just he Spurrier, had his little favorites, just like they have in every other sport. The curse of the Astronauts. But yeah, he's in Miami.
Well, tell him James Argento says hi when you get a chance. It was awesome to know him. He got me a ticket to the last Nitro that was really WCW's Nitro, where you were fighting Rick Steiner in Gainesville.
Oh, the Rick Steiner match! Oh my God, what a nightmare that must have been.
Yeah, that was tremendous.
Oh God.
We talked about that a day after in class too.
Yeah.
Oh, I talked with that the next day with everybody. I was going, what was that?
Yeah. That was not a highlight of my career. I saw him in Puerto Rico last year, and we straightened it out. So, everything's cool between me and him. But I was I couldn't believe that because I wrestled him a million times, I actually thought Bischoff had told him to do it.
That's what I thought. I mean, no one told me that. I mean, I was just thinking because you knew the company was going down, and I just thought that, wow, Bischoff's, because didn't Steiner do that to somebody else too? I just think that...
Yeah, he did. I can't remember.
Was it Shane Douglas or somebody?
It was 3 weeks in a row or something like that.
Right, and he did, I think Lash LaRue or somebody maybe? I don't remember who the guys were, but
I don't remember who he did it to, but I do remember that I was on all fours, and then he had me on my stomach, and we were waiting for Shane Douglas to come into
That's right, Shane Douglas was running in your match, and then he came late or something, right?
Yeah, and then he was hitting me, across the head.
Oh, brutal. I remember that now. We were flinching. We were like, ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking okay, somebody's trying to get Konnan to pay and trying to get, but it wasn't just you because I think Steiner to somebody else too. Yeah. And we were just thinking wow, somebody's using Rick Steiner as an enforcer before this thing goes out of business.
Right. Which, and I just asked him point blank, why did you do that? And he just told me, I freaked out. He goes, Shane Douglas didn't want to come down, and I was so upset that it was the end of the company was going down. I go, yeah, don't take that shit out on me. He apologized, and that you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anything else, James?
Well, just wanted to know the general direction where you wanted to take NWTNA in your capacity, where you're not a Jarrett at this point, the thing. However, where do you see TNA going? Where would you like to take it?
Well, I just think that there's we could be here all night with that question, but basically the bottom line, all they have to do is, I think they need to get some other writers in there, maybe younger writers with different ideas, not have two guys that think the same. I think you need people to challenge you. I think and I told them, I said, we've got a lot of viewers. I've told Dutch and Jeff. I go, you've got a lot of shows on TV, whether it's CSI, whether it's 24, whether it's Alias, whether it's Nip and Tuck, which they watch none of those shows, by the way. I go, you people want to be challenged. These shows are well-researched. They're well-written. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're giving them mindless entertainment, and they're insulted. Let's make them think. Let's challenge them. There's so many smart people in the wrestling business. I mean, if you talk to a lot of wrestlers, on a personal level, a lot of them are very intelligent, So I said, let's challenge the fans. And I just think that we need other writers in there that are going to challenge Dutch and Jeff and give them other ideas. You know what I'm saying? Maybe younger writers, maybe, I think it starts with the storylines. I think the storylines aren't that good. That's just me. But I think we have incredible potential to grow. I know that we're supposed to get another hour time slot on another day. I believe it's Sunday, right, Dave?
What was they looking at? I think they're looking at Saturday night right now, but
Saturday night?
Yeah.
Well, to go from, being on pay-per-view, and I don't know who is watching us, probably nobody, because nobody ever stopped me and said, hey, I see you on the pay-per-view, to now at least I'm getting a little trickle of people here and there saying, oh, I saw you on Fox Sports Net. We're starting to get out there, and just the fact that in a couple weeks we had the same ratings, if not better than their flagship show, the Best Damn Sports Show, that shows you people are starting to come back. They want to see something different. What WWF is showing them, they're resting on their laurels, and it's become redundant and sometimes just damn right stupid. But the only way we're going to beat them is, I think, with better storylines, because we don't have the star power right now.
Got a full bank of phone calls. We're going to go to Jamie in Chicago. Jamie, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I love your show.
Thanks.
First time caller, I didn't know anything about this until today.
About the show?
Thank you. I didn't know anything about this. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on every Sunday night.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey, I want to have a couple quick questions for Konnan.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey, man, Konnan, my name is Jaime, y'all.
All right, what's up?
Hey, man, thank you. Thanks everything what you've done for wrestling. I really loved everything what you have done. And by the way, I want you to...
Yo, I don't think you can cuss.
No, you can't use those words on this show.
What nationality are you?
He's gone.
Okay. You know what I think? Want me to tell you what I think that's about, seriously?
Yeah.
This is what I think has happened. That guy sounds to me like he's probably Latin, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, the name Jaime. Yeah. These guys are probably guys that are real either thugs or hustlers. They're on the street doing what they do. And when they look at somebody like Cena, they know that's not the type of guy that represents them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they almost look at him as a wankster, wannabe gangster. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, on a street level, he doesn't really get a lot of respect because they know that it's just a gimmick where, I'm not a gimmick. That's how I was raised, and after the show, a lot of them would come and, we'd hang out and they could tell that I was a real deal. And so I think that's why sometimes Cena, from the real guys on the streets, the real hustlers, he gets a hard time. But, he is charismatic. And he is entertaining. Sometimes I think they put him out there too much and he buries himself. But other than that, the guy, is very charismatic and very entertaining.
Yeah. And one of the few young guys that's gotten a little bit of a following.
Yeah, he does, and the people love him, because even when I went to San Diego to visit Ray, he was very over with the crowd.
Yeah. The one thing about... WWE.
You got to remember, let me say this real quick and hold that thought. You got to remember, and I think I told you this once before, Dave, when you're dealing with hip-hop, okay, whether it's a rapper or a rapper that's in the movies, they're very staunch about you being the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't pretend you are when you're not, because it's very offensive to them. And that's what I think happens with Cena, with the real guys that are on the streets.
Okay, let's go to Ryan in Warwick, Rhode Island. Ryan, what's going on?
Hi. I'd like to know if Sting will ever return to the WWE and work for Vince McMahon.
If he wants to, and they want him. I mean, it's not like the basic thing is Sting's 45 years old now, and he doesn't want to work full time, and he made money, and good for him. I saw him wrestle in Hawaii a couple weeks ago, and he's really, although, he could get in good shape if he needed to, but he wasn't really, you could see he wasn't really training hard or anything like that.
Can I tell you something, Dave?
Sure.
Tell me what you and Bryan think about this. This is what I think, and it almost goes back to what I was saying before. Why would you want to, after so many years in the business, after so many injuries, after so much backstabbing in the locker room, so much politics, having to work with injuries. Everybody's had a pill problem at one time or another, very well documented. Why would you want to go back to a full-length schedule when you're at home with your family, watching your kids grow up, and you have a little bit of money in the bank? I think what Vince should do and Jeff Jarrett should do if they were smart, tell me if you guys agree with this, I would take guys like Nash, Goldberg, Mick Foley, Sting, all these guys that can't work a full schedule because they don't want to, their body can't hold up to it anymore. I mean, Jesus Christ, no other sport that I know of is year-round except for golf and tennis, but those aren't very physically demanding sports. Of course, you can get stress fractures and whatnot, but you don't see tennis players with broken necks or,
not broken necks.
Right, ACLs and coming back too early and rehabbing to try to get their spot back. So I think what they should do is they should get somebody like Scott Hall, for example, put him in a real good feud with Christian for 3 months, right? Then have Scott Hall go back home and rest for 3 months, bring him back 3 months later, do the same thing with Nash, do the same thing with Mick Foley. That way you can still take advantage of these superstars that you made, and you can get other guys over, and they'll still want to work. But who the hell wants to go back to?
But here's the thing: if those guys are willing to give back, because they can't be going over the young guys at that point.
No, I'm not saying they have to be going over the young guys, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you could do something with Christian, where Christian goes over, and then maybe Scott Hall comes back later and he beats somebody else because you got to keep him a little bit hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I've always thought, especially with WWE, because they, in the old days you wouldn't want to do that because you didn't want to make a star for somebody else, but there really is nobody else.
Right.
So it's like the idea of bringing Sting in for a 1 month program, just to have build up Sting for one pay-per-view match against somebody new, right. Especially when the matches that they have right now are so stale. I think that, you could do it, but the stubbornness is, and, you really saw this with Bill Goldberg, is that they don't want to push somebody that they didn't make.
Right.
And they don't want to push somebody who's not with them 24/7. They want to control you if they're going to use you.
You need to change your thinking, bro.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, and with Sting, Sting has no need to be controlled because he doesn't need it that bad.
Right. But
yeah.
Do you think I'm right? I'm wrong? Or what do you think?
No, I think that I think that they need anything to freshen up what they got. Other than but they gotta, if it's being done, it's got to be done in a way that's beneficial. Like I don't.
That goes without saying. You know how I think. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
You don't also want to bury all the old guys because after a while the people go, all right, here's another old guy that's going to put over a young guy.
Right.
Make it interesting. What do you think, Bryan?
I think it's funny that they haven't figured this out yet, because all the guys that they brought in after WCW died, even the ones that failed in the end,
right?
I mean, it all meant something that first month and the first couple of months.
Yeah, even Steiner the first month was huge.
The guys, they screwed up horribly with everything they did, like when they put the wig on Goldberg. It all worked for like a few months.
Right.
You would think that they would figure out that anybody that they bring in that's a big enough name can work for a few months, and then after that, let them leave.
Right. Can you imagine, Bryan and Dave, if right now, let's say, on one show, all these guys that used to be in WCW and ECW came on both shows and started to almost do like what the NWO did, and right behind them is Paulie and Eric because he fucked both the companies, bought them out, and rewrote history. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be believable, and you could start a real good feud, but they're never going to do that. But I think that would be good business.
Yeah. Anything else, Ryan?
Yeah, I was wondering if John Cena will ever get a shot at like a title, like a heavyweight title or something.
Oh, for sure.
Well, doesn't he hold one right now?
He's going for the U.S., but I mean, as far as like the brand title with Bradshaw and everything, he'll get a shot at some point, sure. And he'll at some point he'll win it. He'll have to just because
he probably will win it. He will.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know when that will be. It may not be soon, but barring injury, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go to Justin in Indiana. Justin, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Good. I had a couple questions for Konnan.
Okay.
All right.
I was wondering how you like the new ring in TNA.
Very weird. I'm still not used to it.
Yeah, it's very unusual.
Yes. I get confused, believe it or not. Every time I got to throw somebody to ropes, I get very confused.
I'm a long-time fan, and I believe that you don't get enough airtime. You're very entertaining. I think you should get more airtime.
Well, you know, I'd say this. In the last 2 weeks, they've really started to give you the interview time, and I think it's been, you've done real well with it, too.
Yeah. Well, like I said, believe me, they didn't write that for me. So, I mean, it's just hard. It's like I almost have to cut my own little deals, And I don't like that, but let's see what happens. Maybe they're going to take notice at some of the hard work that me and BG have been doing the last couple months, and we'll be rewarded.
Yeah, keep up the good work. It's awesome.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to Steve in Providence. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going good.
You think G-Generation X will ever return to the WWE and regroup as original members?
Original members, no.
No?
No, I don't see that. I don't see that ever happening because that would mean Road Dogg would have to go back, which I don't, I just don't see that happening right now. Sean Waltman, and the other thing is you'd have Hunter, and I think to Hunter, Evolution is a way bigger deal than DX ever was. Just watching it, I think that he sees, DX as something that got... Yeah, it is. So DX is something that got him over, but Evolution is his way of living through his childhood so much and being Ric Flair, if you know what I mean.
Right. I think you're absolutely right because Evolution was his baby and D-Generation X, they were actually thrown together.
Yeah. So, anything else, Steve?
Yeah. How long do you think this Kane and Lita thing is going to be going on for?
Well, certainly until she gives birth, so we got months to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a long time on this one. I don't know. I didn't hate it.
It could be worse.
I didn't hate it at some point, and there was some campiness to it even now, but it's kind of like something that takes up a lot of airtime that's really not that over, so I'm kind of, on it right now.
It's just hard for me to get into Kane anymore because he went from a guy who supposedly had a disfigured face and talked with a voice box to somebody that's kind of eloquent and like a year and a half ago was doing impersonations, then was thrown into a fire and came back. It's like it's very hard to take anything he does seriously anymore. Even though it almost seems like everything they give him, he does a pretty good job of it. Like Paul Lee. Paul Lee, every time they want to make sense out of something that's ridiculous, they call Paul Lee in. I'm serious.
Oh, I know with Paul Lee. I mean, but again, I think that they have a lot of resources and they don't make the most use of it. And Paul Lee's a perfect example. What's he doing managing John Heidenreich? Even though he had the best chance for John Heidenreich to get over, but we all know deep down that, the guy's not ready and he's going to fail in the role, and Paulie should be with the success. I mean, if Paulie had managed The Undertaker, which I had thought that was the direction they were going at one point, an Undertaker would have had a feud with Paulie against Eddie. That would have been so much more interesting than what they're doing in the world title picture, for the last 6 months.
Yeah, plus Paulie to me is I love when he's on camera because he's the most entertaining guy to me on SmackDown. I mean, he's just awesome. His nuances, he just knows how to talk. He knows how to get his point across. And just like when they had that Paul Bearer thing, they picked him to try to make sense out of what was going on.
Oh, God. And that was tough.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Paulie, he has his enemies within the company, and they're always going to hold him back until something changes.
Yeah. Because we only got about a minute, is there anyone, because I was thinking about this, when you broke in 88, 89 Mexico, what guys did you see there that, for whatever reason, you think never got their due, either in Mexico or in the United States, or people who just kind of missed that could have been some of the guys who came up and ended up doing very well?
I don't know. I don't think we got enough time for you to let me think about that. But I just think that the one thing I want to say is just unfortunate. I'm going to talk about the United States right now. It's just unfortunate that there's a lot of people, whether it's in WWF, like Booker T, like Rob Van Dam, like Paul Lee, in our company, 3 Live Crew, people that are so over with the people, but yet for whatever reason, whether it's politics, heat in the office, because maybe a top guy doesn't like them, that they're held back. I think the sun shines for everybody, and it's almost like if you have a garden, if the sun's only shining on a couple of guys, everything else wilts away and dies from a fan's perspective and from a wrestler's perspective because they lose their passion. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that all they got to do is listen to the people. The people will let you know who they like and who they don't like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, we are totally out of time. Konnan, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, and we'll be back next week here on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Bryan, we'll be talking to you soon, and until then, see ya.